Good afternoon, everyone. A very, very warm welcome to all of you. Thank you so much for joining in. Before I hand over the session to Charu, who will be anchoring the session from Great Place to Work, I'd like to introduce the speakers for today's session. We are really excited to have Aradhana Sharma, who is a leading high-performance nutritionist in India and has worked with many athletes in their fitness journey. She's also a life coach and has helped corporates with their wellness journey. And we are really grateful to have her as a part of the discussion today. We are also very grateful to have Anuj Tyagi as a part of our conversation today, who is the Deputy Managing Director at HDFC ERGO. He has been working in this space for more than 2 decades and has been with the HDFC group for more than 12 years. He's someone who is extremely passionate about endurance sports, marathons, and cycling. And we are really excited for him to share his experiences with all of us today. Thank you so much to the both of you for taking the time out today. And I'll hand over to Charu to begin the session.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Ishika. We'll just spend just a few more seconds and then begin. We just wait for a few more people to join in. We'll begin another few seconds. Hi, everyone. Thank you for giving us a few minutes and just waiting. We're just waiting for everyone to join in and comfort themselves in this evening today. Thank you, Ishika, for those lovely introductions. And thank you, everyone, for joining in. And some of you have also shared questions while registering that you would like us to answer during this conversation. So we will definitely answer those during the end of the webinar and also interweave it during our conversation. I would also take this opportunity to thank Anuj and Aradhana for taking out the time to share their personal and professional experiences with us. So thank you, Anuj and Aradhana, for joining us today.
Thanks for having me here.
Thank you, Charu.
Great to have you. And before we just begin into the conversation, I'll take a moment to just explain the structure of the webinar to everyone. So the conversation would be around 40 minutes, and the last 15 to 20 minutes we'll spend on answering questions that you may have, which you picked up during the webinar or had some before in mind that you'd like to ask any of us here. And before we deep dive into the conversation, I know a lot of you have been waiting to know more about nutrition, about well-being. I'll take this moment to just share a little bit about our mission. And our mission really is to making India a healthy place to work for all. And we are really grateful to enter into a strategic partnership with HDFC ERGO to spearhead this movement. And as part of the initiative, we will be running webinar series throughout the year. And what better occasion than the National Nutrition Week to start the first webinar series under this partnership. and remind ourselves to again take care and take charge of our nutrition. And when we talk about nutrition, it is a puzzle in the wellness space which often gets missed. So today we will talk about how do we take charge of our nutrition needs and what else we can do to really take care of our health and well-being. So I will now invite Aradhana, who is the subject matter expert and has worked with a lot of athletes for many years, to share, why nutrition and what's the role it really plays when all of us are looking to lead healthier lifestyles.
Thank you so much, Charu. So I want to start with just establishing a connection that we, in general, in our language, now and then we talk in our, regular conversations also, that I have a gut feeling. Or, when people are very stressed or anxious, or they say that I'm sick to the stomach. So that all connects at your stomach and your gut to how you feel. So when today we are talking about health, and not only the physical health, but also the mental, how food is affected, food affects your mental status also. So these simple terms that we use now and then, gut feeling and feeling sick to the stomach, that itself proves that it has come from somewhere, that, your stomach is related to, overall well-being. So it is what we put in our body. It's how it's going to affect us overall, not only for the physical performance, but also for the mental performance. So something as simple as, we, as of now, we all know about micronutrient deficiencies and all that. But if you just think about vitamin D, if you want to talk about, it will go into, okay, your bones are going to get weak. If you get adequate sunlight, then only you can get vitamin D. But actually, it's not only about bones. It affects your mood too. Vitamin D will affect your mood as well. Now, when it affects your mood, now that there is, it affects with serotonin, which is a chemical. I will not take you so deep into how your brain is going to send signals, this and that, but a simple thing, serotonin, that is a chemical that controls your mood, your appetite, your how you feel, your anxiety level, stress, and all those things. Now, a large part of that serotonin is actually produced in your gut. All right. So that's how something, a neurochemical that actually controls your mood and everything, is kind of, manufactured in your guts, and vitamin D helps with that.
Wow. So you're really saying that it is overall connected.
So this is the same. Yeah, it is. Yeah. So your stomach, and now how does that serotonin comes into picture? Is there is amino acid known as tryptophan that you get with milk and milk product, and there are many other sources. Now, if you don't get that, the serotonin does not get produced and you don't feel good and all that. So it's not only about physical activity. The food is going to affect your mental activity, your overall moods and all that. And now, more than ever, it is more important for us to know, because we know how stress has led many people to go into depression and anxiety, especially during the COVID time. And the dietary habits have also changed for many, many people, because our lifestyles were changed. We were forced to be at home. So there are certain points that during, this session, I would like to point out very simple things. I promise I'll not go into how food is digested, what is carbohydrate, protein, and all that. I'll keep it very simple, but just wanted to establish the connection here, that how food actually is affecting your brain as well as your body.
Thank you for sharing that. I think it is very relevant. We all are talking about both mental and physical health when we talk about well-being, right? We are not looking at it separately, and it is really important that we address both aspects. And thank you for sharing that. I think all of them will be having some feeling in the stomach and the gut, and hopefully have a lot of takeaways through this session. And at this point, I would love to invite Anuj. Anuj, you are someone who really is very passionate about health and well-being. And generally, what has been your philosophy when you talk about taking care of your both mental and physical health?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Charu. And thank you, Aradhana, for giving us a brilliant start on how food affects our body and what it actually means when we say I have a gut feeling, or I'm sick to the stomach. So brilliant start. So Charu, for me, look, I don't understand the the chemistry and the complexities of food, and that's for Aradhana to share her expertise on. I can certainly share what it means to me, what I practice, and um, uh, for me, it's not one single piece, whether it's food or whether it's taking care of my body or taking care of my mind. For me, all these three are well integrated, right? So for me, a workout without a balanced diet or without taking care of what you eat, a workout and diet but without taking care of sleep, a workout and diet and sleep but without taking care of what you think, what you watch, who do you interact with, what do you read, each one of these pieces in isolation are incomplete. So for me, mindfulness, uh, well-being is ensuring a right balance in between these 3-4 constituents, and that's what I've been trying to practice. That's what I try and do on a regular basis. And trust me, my experience says, whenever on a regular basis, whenever I see any one of these missing, my body tells me, my mind tells me, the way I start reacting to situations around it tells me that something is wrong somewhere. Yeah, so for me, it's all about balancing the thoughts, balancing the food, balancing how active physically you are. That for me is well-being or well-beingness, if that's a word in totality.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I really love the fact that you've used the word balancing, right? We've been hearing that so often when it comes to, we have to balance our work, we have to balance like our professional, personal commitments, and really we have to balance our health and wellness, right? When it comes to all the components. So thank you for sharing that, Anuj. I think it's really important to hear that when someone starts taking care of their body, they get attuned to what they're feeling. A lot of us are not even aware of, what signal the body is telling, what our mind is telling. And it's a very, very smart machine. If you start taking care of it, it will work for you. So it is linked in. When you start taking care of your body and mind, it will help you perform better. You would have seen that personally and also in your athletes, right, Aradhana? You've worked with a lot of athletes and how you have helped them get attuned with their nutritional, exercise and fitness needs so that their performance is better. And so similarly over here, there are a lot of people who are from the workplaces, and we want to strive and we want to thrive, not just survive in the environment, right? So it'll be great to hear from you, Aradhana, to share how the journey has been when you work with athletes. How can we really take charge of our overall nutrition needs and health and well-being? And also any case studies that you came across that could be important for us to take away right now, and what we can, adopt into our daily lives. That would be really, really helpful.
Okay, so in a bit, share have some, but before that, just a recent case that came to
Aradhana, we're just losing your voice a little bit.
There's an athlete who came to me, and he was just a second. Is it better now, Charu?
Yes, much better. Thank you. We just lost you
is
in the
it
middle.
better
So if
now?
you could, yes, we just lost you in the middle. So if you could just start that again, yeah.
So actually, I'll first try to switch my connection so it's better active.
Sure, sure.
Can you hear me, Charu?
Yes, we can hear you, Aradhana.
Okay, so I'm back there. I was just saying that recently I'll just first share a very recent experience that I had with an athlete. So there's this athlete who comes to me and says, I've been having headaches and I need to improve my diet. So I was like, okay, what also? He said, you need to give me more of the recovery drinks, or I need to improve protein in my diet, and then something is missing, my diet is this and that, and he says I'm just not able to perform good. So I told him that, okay, let me just look into your blood test report, how much you're working out and all that. So that way, when I checked his blood test report, I also analyzed his diet and everything. There was nothing missing from his diet.
Wow, and
Sleep
still
was
the
I can-
results, so still the headache was there. We'll just wait for a moment, Aradhana. We're not able to hear you clearly.
Yeah. Charu, can you hear me?
Just a little fainter, Aradhana. If you could maybe switch off the video and continue. Maybe till then we can have Anuj, maybe you could share a little bit about, certain challenges you also think you feel while taking care of your nutrition. What has been certain challenges and what have been certain things that have helped you? And then we could move on to Aradhana to share specific cases of her cases.
Well, I think for me, Charu, the biggest challenge is to strike this whole. So in my mind, there's always a battle between my urges and what I should do and what I should not do. So for me, the biggest challenge has been to look. I'm a North Indian, right? So I love my chole bhature and gajar ka halwa and gulab jamun, and I have a sweet tooth, right? I come from the sugarcane belt of the country. So for me, the biggest challenge has been how do I control my urges? I would wake up and the more I work out, more would my body demand sugar and everything that one should not eat if you speak of healthy diet or balanced diet. So the biggest challenge for me has been to bring this control on my mind. And I have found a cheat for it, right? So what I do is I don't deprive myself of my gulab jamun. I love my meaty chai, by the way, right? So I don't deprive myself of my meaty chai also. But the cheat is, or the challenge for myself is, I say if you want to have a gulab jamun or a meaty chai, you have to work out, you have to run so that you at least burn the calories. Now, it doesn't happen practically always, but it then discourages me to have to go unbridled, to have more than certain. So if I have 2 gulab jamun, then I know I have to run for at least 45 minutes. Now, if I don't want to run, at least don't have 2 gulab jamun. So what I do is I try and at least have a sort of a calculator, sort of formula that I have. This is my calorie intake. Let's go and burn these calories. So the biggest challenge has been, how do you control mind? How do you bring in all your forces together and focus on what to eat, what not to eat? I think the moment it's the discipline, it's the commitment to a cause. You are not controlling your diet, or you're not working out for somebody else. You're doing it to yourself. And one of the Bollywood actors used to say, so somebody asked him, you're not seen in parties, you never smoke, and he says, look, my body is my temple. How can I disrespect my temple? Do you ever go to a temple with your shoes on, right? So for me, it's exactly the same. I'm doing it for myself, and all of us will have to understand that when somebody tells us to eat healthy or to work out or to give ourselves proper sleep, it's not for anybody else. It is for our own body, right? So controlling your mind, controlling the urges, understanding at the very core that you're doing it for yourself. These are some of the challenges which everybody faces. I also faced, and you need to learn to control it. Yeah.
No, thank you for sharing that. I think we all have had that experience, and we all are trying to control those urges, right? And trying to take care of the body. And I think maybe it'll be interesting to hear from Aradhana that when you're working with athletes, Aradhana, how tuned they are to taking charge of their body. Are they also aware of what are their requirements, how they can take charge, and what are some examples and some tips that we can also take away when we start looking at, taking care of that body of ours and stopping those urges? What are few things we could also
so yeah, lots of clients that I see, Charu, they have, I mean, of course, we are all human beings, and I told everybody that food is there to be enjoyed. But like Anuj told, he knows how to calculate. Like if he's enjoying it more, then he needs to run more. So it's similar, but with athletes, yes, they have to be more disciplined, because whatever they eat throughout the days is going to be translated to how they perform. So for them, of course, we fix the cheat days. So they cannot have as and when they want to, have their desserts or anything, any fast food and all. We fix cheat days for them, and that especially when they are not training the very next day. So according to that we do. But yes, so the challenge is, I mean, some of the athletes, they go overboard healthy eating, and then, they want to take this particular case I want to discuss here. One athlete came to me, power sport athlete, that मैडम मैं तो खाना वाना सब ठीक खा रहा हूँ, फैट भी नहीं खाता, but when we checked his body composition, his fat percentage was too high. And when I actually checked his diet, he was taking protein a lot, he was not taking much of fat. But what we tend to forget is too much of everything is also, not good. He was taking too much protein and extra carbs, which was actually converting to fat in his body. So it's not like if I'm eating too much of protein, it's going to, just translate into a better performance. But that's what giving him more of the fat, because whatever protein was not utilized, it was getting converted to fat and deposited in the FD in the body. So this is something, I mean, I usually use this example that even if you're working out, and now, because there are lots of pretty faces out there selling the protein, there are lots of celebrities, there are lots of social media influencers who just talk about you need to have protein. So that is something that in daily life, of course, and I would again say, I'm vocal for local. Our Indian diet had been very well balanced. Only thing, we are not eating the traditional diet now that we used to say 20-25 years back. Now it's on the go, everything. So the dietary pattern has changed. But yes, when it coming back to athletes, they need to be more disciplined. Their food has to be timed according to their exercise routine, their workout routine, and then, their training and competition. With athletes, we go into phases. Like we go into a microcycle when, their competition is around the corner. Then we have a macro cycle throughout the year, we plan for them. But for non-athletic population, we cannot do that. So for us, it has to be year round. It has to be same thing, except when we are on holidays and stuff. So this is something, I wanted to share here as a particular example. And if I think it's okay, I'll start sharing the slide and I'll just speak a bit as we go along with that. I'll just share my screen.
Sure. So we
just give me a thumbs up if you are able to see that.
Yes, okay. We can see that, Rana. Thank you.
So this is about our today's topic, that taking charge of our nutritional needs and understanding. But again, I promise I'll not be talking jargons, lots of scientific stuff, very basic. So here you see, we just need to know the process. There is a simple bucket that is our body, and there is a tap at the, in the bucket, which is training of any sort. You are just a recreational athlete, you just like to work out, even if you're working out every day as a competitive athlete. Then your work, that is like for the working population or the school or the college, and the stress. These are three drainers that actually drains out, energy from our body, or you can call it, all the stressors. How you fill the bucket is good sleep, nutrition, and recovery. So these are only three things that is actually going to keep you, like Anuj said, it's not only about eating and diet, there are lots of other things involved to it. So these are the few things that I just wanted to put in the process, that we need to know what are the stressor, what are the drains, there for your body, and what is actually filling that bucket for you. But the challenge when that we see in the corporates and even our students, the college going kids and all, the challenge is that we all are super busy. And when we talk about nutrition planning and stuff like that, it just comes across, I don't have time for that. So this is something, that's the mindset, that we are busy. Of course, we are all super busy, but it doesn't take too much to just, plan for diet. It's not like you have to stand in the kitchen, cook for 2 hours and all that. There are simple things, but then again, people think that nothing is working. So I just want to, I do get clients who say that, see, I'm exercising a lot, I'm eating good all the time, and, still I feel really tired. I feel drained, I don't have energy. So just few pointers here I wanted to mention. Things don't work because the fitness and diet mantra that you search on Google is not customized as per your requirement, period. They are not meant for you. So you need to figure out diet and hydration, even sleep, everything has to be customized according to individual. Your lifestyle is different, your height, weight, your heredity, everything will be different. So you cannot go just Google search, okay, how to be healthy, how to eat well for fitness. And I'm not even talking about weight. I don't go much into weight loss and weight gain talks, because for me health is something that matters more. I have seen people being very thin but had high percentage of fat, which is the visceral fat, more harmful for the body, and they had some heart issues too, thin people. And I had seen people little overweight but very healthy. So that's why I don't even go into talking about diet. So this is something, your your routine, your diet, your fitness, everything has to be customized according to you, and the Google doesn't do justice to what you're trying to look at. Then dietary changes do take some time. Of course, there is no magic in diet, it takes time. So I tell people, those who are like, I've been unhealthy and I need to get back in shape, or I want to feel more healthy in 2 weeks. So I just ask them, see how long it took you to be unhealthy. It would have been years. It's not like you start eating unhealthy today and tomorrow you're not feeling good. So give it a time. Generally we give up very fast. So that is something we need to understand, that when you make dietary changes, it is going to take days and even weeks for it to show some results in your mental as well as physical health. Then neglecting hydration with right kind of fluids. I have to put that in bracket. Hydration does not mean that I am having 4-5 cups of tea, or I am having, my Coke, 2-3, cans of Coke I drink at work and all that. That is not hydration. I'm sorry. Of course, it is a liquid, but not hydrating you. So in India, I have worked in many states. I talk to lots of people in lots of conferences and also with athletes. And I see at a large, we Indians are dehydrated. We don't carry water bottle everywhere we go, along with us. Another fear is that we'll have to go to the washrooms and washroom not available. So let me not drink water. You're doing injustice to your body. Okay. So hydration is one leading cause for early fatigue, period. So that is something we need to look into. Exercise and diet are not enough. I'm sorry to say that. A lifestyle, sleep, everything matters. So these are really important, that we have realistic goals. Things would work out if you know what you need to achieve. If you have a goal like, in 2 weeks, I'm going to lose 5 kg of weight, you may lose by crash diet and whatever else, all those funny diets, but you will gain it back. I can guarantee that. So weight loss has to be, a slow process, which you can sustain later on. There is no quick fix with diet. No quick fix for your health, your fitness, and even for your mental well-being through the diet. But when you fix it right, you take your time, it is going to be with you for a longer time. So there are some quick reminders I've put. Good nutrition habits don't have to be boring. I have had many clients who were like, oh God, another nutrition plan, another diet plan. And now I have to starve myself and I have to eat boring food. I need to eat spinach and, all those greens. So no, it doesn't have to be boring. There are always better way to have your nutrition fixed in an interesting way. So when we generally, talk to people, we talk about their lifestyle. And then I tell, let's make changes in your lifestyle. I'm not going to give you what I do, because your lifestyle is different than what I do. So that's how I change people generally, that I'll work according to you, not according to what I want to work on. Then another reminder there is, you don't have to be away from food in order to be healthy. I tell everybody, food is there to be enjoyed. Food is not your enemy. So just and I never call any food bad. I don't say that, good food and bad food. Anything that is giving you calories, energy, is helping you to move, right? But then the food is good and not so good. So that's how I categorize food. So, and you don't really have to be away. You just need to practice portion control. You need to practice the right timing for food. And along with that, the hydration. That will give you a combined picture. Nutrition, again, alone cannot make you achieve any health goal. You have to make sure that you move. So the last point here is, you need to make your move goals along with your eating goals. So it's never like somebody comes and, you are just, counseling them. Okay, here is a diet plan for you. You just go do what you want. No, it doesn't work like that, because I know they'll come back to me, because they are not going to get any healthier unless they start moving. So it's not only that, you're just using good quality of petrol to fill the tank, but if your car doesn't run, if there is no oiling, and it's just the engine is not getting on and off, you're not turning the engine on and off, it's not going to work. Petrol is just going to sit there and do nothing. So the same way with food is like you're going to eat good food, but you need to move good also, because that is really, really important for your overall physiological functioning. And one very important thing, I wish we had this relax key on our keyboard on all the laptops and the PCs that we use, because that is something that comes as a reminder. We need to take breaks, but sadly life is not so easy. We cannot push a relax button and just start relaxing. For that, mind and body both needs to work. Your heart has to be, healthy, and your brain has to be working good. So first thing for that, you need to identify your stress and distress. Eustress is something that is good kind of stress that motivates, that pushes you to work. And distress is something when it gets troublesome. So this is, I'm talking about your overall wellness, because in the previous slide, I said, only diet is not going to work. It just doesn't work. You need to have another thing, other things around it fixed in your life. Escaping does not help. It's like, okay, I have stress today, I cannot eat well today, I'm going to do it tomorrow. Or I'm just born like this. There are many people who just give up very fast. I'm just born like this, so nothing is going to change. So you're actually escaping. Unless you face it, that you're stressed about your health or whatever else it is. Unless you face it, you're never going to be able to fix it. Be flexible and realistic. That is very important. Again, given the example of, I get athletes also coming to me and saying, I need to take my lean muscle mass from 58% to 80%. That is not realistic. You have to have certain fat also in your body. And, of course, for bodybuilders and all that, that's a different thing. But then it's not realistic. And when they want to do it in 1 month, that is definitely not realistic. So these are few things that, and you have to be flexible, because it's not a ruler that I measure today, from these many inches to these many inches, because we are all human. We progress differently with diet or with whatever, you're doing for your stress management. We all progress at a different level. And then understand that it's good to take breaks. If something is not working, you need to take break, come back to it, and never feel guilty. Like today you had, lots of extra food or junk food and all that. And tomorrow you're sitting with the guilt that, oh, I had a lot of this. No, don't sit with the guilt. Just see how you can burn off those calories. Like Anuj said earlier, that he knows that if he is eating 2 gulab jamun, he needs to run 45 minutes. So that's why, like, otherwise we can just, oh, I ate gulab jamun feeling so bad and this and that. But no, please get up and go run. So that guilt is not going to help you in any ways. So this is something, again, I come back to that green relax button, is you need to take breaks from your work also. Like, it's like if you're sitting 8 hours in front of the laptop, just remember that you can always get up, walk around a bit, take hydration break, just few minutes, and try to have some kind of relax button, on your screen, and then listen to your body. If you're not feeling good, there is something wrong, because again, gut feeling, like how I started, that gut feeling matters. So listen to your body. If you feel something is not right, don't push yourself too much. I have seen some athletes who were not ready to work out so much, like tomorrow morning, someone wakes up at not ready to work out, but they pushed themselves, and surely they ended up getting injured because their bodies were not recovering well. Their diet and everything was good, but their sleep wasn't good. So they were not recovering too well. So these are, and always, need to have some me time. That is very important, because that is what is going to get your mind and body both relaxed within your own routine and within your own lifestyle. Recharge yourself. That is when I talk about the rehydration. That is when I talk about have small snacks, because your brain also drains out. Your brain runs on glucose. So your body needs complete regular intake of carbohydrates, so that carbohydrate converts to glucose and your brain starts to work fast. Then when someone faints, they take and put the drip, glucose bottle. That's what they do. So that means that is so important. So you need to learn to have healthy snacks now and then, so that your body is recharged, your mind is recharged. So that is something important, not only with food, but also with the hydration. So that's the simple reminders or few pointers that I wanted to share here with you. I'll stop sharing the screen here.
Thank you, Aradhana. Thank you for sharing those. I think those were very pointed, things that we can take care of ourselves. And starting from today, something as small as hydration, moving around, that relax key button is something that I particularly like. If, there was a way to just buy it off Amazon, I would do that. Right now, to remind us to really pause. And I think that's what really is what you really said, really resonated, that there is no Google mantra where you can Google and say, what is 6 ways to get fit and then put it into my life. And we have a great example here, Anuj, who is, and really role model for his organization, a lot of leaders around us, because when we spoke about workplace wellness, we realized that responsible leadership plays a very important role. It starts at the leader. If the leader is someone who is taking care of their body, their mind and health, it translates down into team and even to the performance. So I would love to hear from Anuj, how did you take care of your health and well-being, how the journey has been, and being in a corporate, what are few things that has worked for you? Those would be certain takeaways that a lot of us would have here who are managing both work and personal lives.
Yeah, sure. Charu, mera bahut unstructured hai. So I do not have any structured plan. It obviously has been an evolution, and as you can imagine, and a lot of our corporate colleagues who have signed on, we today live in a very stressful environment, right? We have work stress, we have work-life balance stress. Imagine balancing work-life for us is a stress. We keep talking about it. Travel stress, so on and so forth. So we are completely stressed out. So for me, and we have traveling jobs. So you can imagine how do you control your diet? How do you control what you eat when you travel? And as a result, everything that would happen to an individual in such a situation happened to me also. In one of those medical tests, some doctor said borderline diabetes. I started having high blood pressure problem, which typically is an after effect of the lifestyle that we lead. And I very vividly still remember, and this is when I had been a sportsman in my college days, but then, as the life responsibility comes in, you start becoming comfortable in your life, so you kind of leave everything. So I left, and I still very vividly remember it was a monsoon day in Bombay, and I just shook my head, and my weight was, I was overweight, right, by my standard. So I shook my head, and I went for a long walk. I had not started running those days. And I said, I must do something for myself because it's going beyond control. So the resolution, the whole commitment, as I said, I come back to the same point. I was doing it for myself. So I committed to myself that I will do it now. So I started with long walks, long walks, brisk walks. Walks converted into running. Running converted into long distance running, converted into full marathon. So I did, close to about 17, 18 half marathons, couple of full marathons. Then, as it typically happens with endurance sport, you do something, then you move on to the next challenge. I started high altitude climbing, started climbing 20,000 feet and above, 22,000 feet and above mountains. COVID happened, mountaineering took a back seat. I started doing long distance cycling. So basically for me now, it's all about how do I keep myself physically active, number one. I never bothered about the balanced diet and nutritional diet, and apologies to Aradhana, till actually, a nutritionist came and told me what Aradhana has said. So I started having my, back problem, soreness in my body. And I was talking to one of the friends who is a nutritionist, and he says, there is something wrong with your diet. Tell me, what do you eat? So I just explained everything. And then obviously he created a separate a diet plan for me, which I followed for some time. But then after the diet plan that he created, I still remember few of the golden rules, which were my kind of take out of the plan. One is, it doesn't matter what you eat. What matters is how much you eat and at what time do you eat, right? So what I've started now doing is, and I've tried, and Aradhana ridiculed the diets, and I was smiling because you name the diet fad in the world and I would have followed it, right? I following a diet is my favorite pastime, right? All the ketos and the Atkins and whatever, you name the diet and I would have done it. But as she said very rightly, it doesn't work for long. So what I now do is, I've started controlling my portions. She said it absolutely very clearly. How much you eat is extremely important. I eat at fixed time. So, and the best way to, and I think another important point that Aradhana made was, what works for me may not work for anybody else. You have to get in touch with professionals who possibly can chart out plans for you. But what seemingly has worked for me is intermittent diet, intermittent fasting. This kind of helps me. I eat at 1, I eat at 8:30, and next day I eat at 1. Now what it does is, at 1 o'clock, my hunger bell rings, right? Come what may, I have to eat at 1. So I have very fixed timings for my eating. And if people can have 3 meals a day at a particular time, they should do it. But I do 2 meals a day. I obviously cut on my sugar intake and some of that stuff. The biggest, I think, enemy is that the snacking. वो जो वो छोटी भूख है ना, वो जिसका एडवर्टाइजमेंट भी बनाया है, वो 2 मिनट छोटी भूख का solution. I think that's lethal. We have to ensure that the snacking, वो जो 3 बजे 4 बजे वाली भूख है, उसका क्या करना है. So munch on nuts, munch on मूंगफली, शिंगदाना, chana. So I do carrot sticks. I do all those things. And as I was saying initially, for me, it's very, so I have a principle. If after eating you feel lethargic, if after eating you feel sleepy, you've not had the right food, or you've eaten too much. Food, as Aradhana very beautifully said, by definition, it's a fuel. You should feel energized. You should be raring to go after you have your meal, right? If you're feeling sleepy and lethargic, you've had something is wrong. So it's all about how much you eat, at what time you eat, how do you burn the eating, whatever we eat. Even if you eat, कुछ लोग कहते हैं ना कि हम क्या करें, हम तो पानी भी पीते हैं तो हमारा वेट बढ़ जाता है. तो यार मतलब पानी भी पिया है, you still have to burn that water also, because at the end of the day everything is going and sitting in your body. So आप जो भी खा रहे हैं, जो भी पी रहे हैं, आपको उसे burn करना होगा. It's all about discipline. It's about, I come back to where I started, the very basic. It's all about giving this commitment to yourself कि आप ये अपने लिए कर रहे हैं. So yeah, this is how it has worked for me, and I really enjoy it.
Thank you for sharing that. I think when you talk about, how if you feel good after a meal, it's like you've eaten well. Otherwise, you've not felt right. The lethargy you feel. And when we are working, something that is very, very important is our energy levels, right? Where there is a lot of expectations at the workplace, at our personal front. And something that we all have to take care is our energy. And one way that we can do that is by taking care of our health. Only when we put, good food, good exercise, and you take care of your body and mind is when you'll be able to see that kind of energy levels, the contributions. Like, I don't know if you see that in your team, and Aradhana's also worked with corporates, and Anuj also is leading a team. Have you seen that, the people who are taking care of their health, are they performing better at the workplace? And are there any initiatives to really encourage healthy well-being at organization, or something you would like to talk about, Anuj, that HDFC is also doing to really promote that culture that we can also learn from?
बहुत clear and perceptible signals हैं. People who eat healthy, people who have holistic, programs for their well-being, whether structured or unstructured. कुछ लोग by design भगवान ने वैसा बनाया कि वो जो भी करते हैं वो बहुत balanced तरीके से करते हैं. But people who holistically take care of the well-being, their performance, the positivity that they exuberate and spread around in the team, versus people who do not take care of their body, there's a perceptible difference. And हम लोग अपने workplace में अपने चारों तरफ हमेशा देखते हैं, वो कहते हैं ना कि ये negative vibes देता है, ये positive vibes देता है, इसके पास मत बैठो. अरे वो कुछ नहीं है, मतलब these are people who've created that balance in their life. तो बहुत फर्क है, जमीन आसमान का फर्क दिखता है. I have, frankly, personally for me, I don't understand, fatigue at workplace. For me, अब उतना नहीं, but एक time में it was, at least for some of us friends, it was famous that my energy levels, as the time passes by, the day passes by, my energy levels go up like this, right? Because you feel charged up. So वो fatigue जैसी कोई चीज जो balanced lifestyle जीते हैं उनको दिखती नहीं है, because उनकी नींद भी पूरी हुई होती है. And as I said, कि वो, who do they spend their time with, what do they spend their time on, what do they read, what do they watch, all of this has an effect on our body and mind. तो हमने so one is to answer the question, yes, it does make a huge difference, and you see this now. How do you? So हमने I remember Charu, when early on when we kind of restarted the organization, I possibly was the first person who ran the marathon, right? And like बुराई की तरह ना अच्छाई भी बहुत spread होती है. It has a rub-off effect. So next year I think 7-8 of us ran. Then more people started running. Today the fact is, in HDFC ERGO we have a qualification process for people who can run marathon, because that's the number of people who started kind of participating in marathons. We've created our the recreation clubs. We've created our hobby clubs. So health and well-being is not only about losing weight and running marathons and climbing on mountain. It's also about indulging in constructive hobbies. It's also about creating an ecosystem where people can talk amongst themselves and de-stress themselves. So we have these various clubs in the organization that we've created. We have our yoga sessions on Saturdays and Sundays, which frustratingly not many people attend. And I also want to give this message through this webinar that the organization conducts yoga session. Please do attend. There are, like we're doing now, but there are sessions on well-being, mental well-being, diet, and so on and so forth. But I think what works the best is those small bubbles, small communities that people have created. Like I run, everybody around me, at least the set of people who I'm in direct touch with, over a period of time, if I, when I look back and think, I think everybody is indulged in a physical sport, right? All of us who kind of sit together, we certainly have a particular take on what to eat and how do you, create that balance. Maybe, there are colleagues of mine who enjoy their desserts. I restrain myself, they don't restrain themselves, but they have created the capability to kind of balance it out. So जो बहुत चलता है, और मुझे किसी ने एक बार मेरे colleague ने एक बात कही थी कि भाई आप you work out, you have a very balanced approach towards things. You should share it out with people, because when the leadership team does and when they share, people do get inspired and people do try to kind of emulate those practices. So जो लोग करते हैं, my request to them would be to share their stories with people, to put those WhatsApp status, Insta status, and just see, we should try from our side, as much positivity as we can spread around. Yeah.
Oh, thank you for that wonderful message. I think that is exactly what we also wanted to hear, right? And like you said, it is the key really is taking care of our health, and we see that translating in every sphere of our life, at the workplace and the professional stream as well. And there were certain challenges you faced and how you started. You shared your journey of you having high blood pressure and being overweight, and you started somewhere. So I'm sure a lot of us here also will be facing some challenges, and maybe in the next 2 minutes, I will share a link on the chat group. And if there are any challenges that people are facing, we'd love to hear from them. And then would love to open it out to Aradhana to share if there's anything they can do, or what's something that has worked for you in terms of overcoming those challenges. So just in a minute, all of you will see this link on the chat. I have just shared it. So if all of you can just fill your answers here. We'd love to see if there are any challenges that you are facing when it comes to taking charge of your health and wellness in the corporate setting, in the personal space, and if there are any tips and guidelines that we can share right now, we'd love to share that with all of you. So you can just quickly click on the link and fill out some answers. All right, I will just take a moment to share my screen. Can you all see my screen? Just give me a thumbs up if you can. All right, wonderful. So here we are. These are some challenges we are facing as people attending. No, we'd love to hear, Radhana, anything that you feel, some things that are coming to you, if there are certain things people can adopt from these. So there's a lot around stress, anxiety, feeling fatigued.
Yeah, most of them, I would say, are pretty common: stress and anxiety. So first thing I would like to point out here is manage your sleep, because if your brain and body are not rested well enough, uh, again, I won't go into talking about chemical terms. It's feel good hormones and stress hormones. So if your body is not resting well, and not only your brain is relaxing, but if throughout the day you're sitting, your muscles are working out that way, it's on only one position you're sitting, your brain is all focused on the work. So find time for good quality sleep. And it's not like, okay, I'm sleeping 5 hours and all, but was that a quality sleep? And if you're not doing that, I don't tell people, because we don't have time to take naps and all that, but just lie down, close your eyes, lie down, or even at your desk, just get up, move around, just do some stretches, sit back, close your eyes, control your breathe, like go back to breathing and just connect with yourself, because those are the major reasons for stress and anxiety. We are just running like robots, and we don't take time to connect with ourselves. So I generally tell to people, when I work with corporate clients, most of the time the problem is their sleep is not managed, because then after the work comes the Netflix. So that is one thing that is going to, so your sleep has to be priority throughout the day if you're working. And if that is affecting your if you're feeling lazy because your brain is not freshened up, your brain is not alert, active, and then what we do, coming to it, is like we then rely on tea and coffee to alert ourselves. But we need to know that caffeine is a two-edged sword. Coffee can be alerting, but at the same time, if you go overboard, it can be the reason for you to get nervous, for your anxiety. So there is no fix for it is only within yourself. You need to learn to relax, you need to connect your body and mind together, and sleep is the first thing. Now when it comes to food that will help you to so I generally tell them to switch to fresh. I mean, it directly translates to feeling fresh. More colors you eat, like more colors you put on your plate, these are more antioxidants, you're getting more vitamins and minerals. And of course many of them again, coming back to vitamin D and B12 and minerals like zinc and magnesium, those are all actually, they affect your mood. You feel anxious when there is deficiency of that. So, and of course B group of vitamin, because they are directly related to your nervous system. So you need to have a diet which is colorful. And when I talk colorful, it's not like the additives and all that, I'm talking about fresh colors. More you add those, more fresh you add, fresher you will feel. It directly translates to that. So this is something they can do. Then work-life balance, I can see there is another question, work-life balance. So thing is, phone is the culprit. Your screens are the culprit. Once your work is done on the screen, please shut it down. All right. Then only you will get the life. The life is not online. So simplest thing is, again, your those Amazon Prime and Netflix. I personally have canceled my subscription. So it's not like I'm sitting here and preaching. I don't have any of those subscribed, because I knew during the first lockdown how it was affecting the life. Then it is another thing I see here is how much to eat and when. Now that is very individualized. That will depend on how much actually you are able to burn out. So I cannot give somebody's requirement maybe 2 chapatis or a cup of rice in one go, whereas someone who is going for a run every day or to the gym every day, their requirement may be more. So it won't be right on my part to give any figure here like how much. But yes, when to eat is you need to understand according to your life cycle. It's not like as in when if you're waking up in the night, you feel like, let me just go and have a snack. No, that's not the time to eat. But yes, to kickstart that metabolism, you may need to eat early in the morning, because your brain has been relaxing. Now it needs a kickstart with a good amount of carbohydrate, quality carbohydrate, I would say. So this is, and again, I'm coming back to that, more dehydrated you are, more connection your brain loses with your body, because brain is sending the signals. And if a person is, I'm talking about extreme here, if a person is dehydrated for a long time, the brain starts to shrink. We have studies, research on that. So please keep drinking water. If you have to use washrooms little more times, please do that, but your body will adjust to that. Now, another one is here is intermittent fasting. which is very common. And as Anuj also said, it does help a lot of people. I would like you to think and connect it to, you remember in older times, we used to say, don't eat anything after sunset and before sunrise. So what is that? That is intermittent fasting. Now we have widened that window, right? So that was the traditional. So again, if we connect it to that, we like before sunset and after sunrise. So you have a good 12 hours gap anyways there, which is now extended to 16 hours. And intermittent fastings are of different styles. I do teach, I talk about fat diet, what works, what not in many sessions. So intermittent fasting is one, it works for many people. For them, it doesn't work. We can always modify the hours. But again, it is something, it will not work for everybody. So there is no one fix that is going to help everybody. So this is something about intermittent fasting. There are intermittent fasting which say that you eat whatever you want for 5 days and then 2 days eat nothing. Or you eat say about 2000 calories for 4 days, then for 2 days you come to 600 calories. So those are not doable. You can go into hourly windows, and that is better to, have the intermittent fasting way. But then I think, Charu, do we have time to answer more questions or?
I think just one last one, which I can see is about just how to be consistent. And, there's someone who's written exercise time is in the morning and we have to be ready to go to office. So, Anuj, you're someone who has a lot on his plate when it comes to the work that you're doing. You've been with HDFC for more than 12 years and in the industry for almost 2 decades. And you are passionate about your health and wellness. So how are you being consistent, and or what are certain things you do to take care of?
There is a very simple fix to it. If you cannot do 30 minutes in one go, do 15 minutes, very simple. As I told earlier, the goals have to be realistic. I understand the lives are busy. We cannot take time out for 40 minutes, 45 minutes. Actually, we can. If we sleep on time, we can wake up on time. Again, I'll come back to the sleep. You need to fix your sleep first, sleeping hours first. If you wake up on time, you have time. But still, given the situation, like we don't have time, if you can't take out 30 minutes, take out 15 minutes in the morning, 15 in the evening. You can't do that, do 10 in the morning, 10 in the evening, but keep moving, start moving, because somewhere you have to start. Then you can, once you start liking it, you're going to build on it. Like Anuj said, at the leadership level, if you start working out, you are actually motivating people. I have seen many corporates where the leaders started, working out or running the marathon, or they joined the running club. Some employees were very unwilling, but they were like, boss kar raha hai to kar lete, that sort of. But later on, they started enjoying it. So it's like you just need to start. If you don't enjoy, there are different kind of activities. If you don't like outdoors, if you are on screen, just type cardio exercise, or you just type Zumba, or you just type, yoga, whatever. There are lots of videos available. So you can do that at home. You don't even have to, put your workout gear and, go out and run. So there are always ways, depending on what lifestyle you're leading. And if you can't do 30 minutes, do 20. If not 20, do 10 minutes at a time.
So like basically taking out that,
Yes.
whatever time works for you.
Yeah.
And I think we do have a few minutes left, and there is a few questions, and one is pointed specific to Anuj. So I would take that, and we'll just spend a last few minutes just answering one or two questions before we close. And there is a question, Anuj, that's saying, Anuj, thanks for sharing your self-transformation journey. You are very clear about what is holistic well-being. Who are your inspiration or role models in real life? And they've said any guru. So anyone that you follow us, and have taken inspiration on, and tying in with how do you manage your consistency with the work?
I don't have a guru. I don't have any inspiration as far as my physical, mental well-being is concerned. And I think the closest I can think of something which have been my inspiration was my blood pressure report, which said you have a high blood pressure, and doctor actually told me that you will be on pills. So, what, each to his own. What works for somebody, it's very different. For me, that shake up, that in mid-30s, if somebody is told borderline diabetes and hypertension, so for me, that shake up. For somebody, it could be a guru. So I don't have any guru. I don't have any inspiration. And obviously, when you traverse on this journey, then you have various people, various incidents which continue to kind of inspire you. So apne walking shuru kiya, then you see those club runners who run, they become your inspiration. If these guys can run, why can I not? why can't I run? So obviously I also drew my inspiration for people around me. What certainly has worked for me, and I think this was जो आराधना कह रही थी और किसी ने कहा कि हम काम करते हैं, हाउ डू यू स्ट्राइक दैट बैलेंस, हम कैसे वर्कआउट करें, टाइम नहीं मिलता है. सो कुछ एक चीजें हैं जो मेरे केस में जो मुझे लगती हैं वर्क्स. वन इज फाइंड अ बडी, right? Having somebody with similar taste and similar commitment, it always works rather than doing somebody. और सबके घर में ट्रेडमिल होती है जो एक आध महीने के बाद कपड़े सुखाने के काम आती है. हर घर का यही हाल है, राइट? तो अकेले होता नहीं है. जनरली फाइंड अ पार्टनर. I have never been regimented. I've never been very fastidious on a pattern and on a plan. My workouts are not fixed. I feel like running, I run. I feel like doing weights, I do weights. I feel like doing functional exercises, animal walks. I do anything that, I get up and what I want to do. So my trainer has a regime for me, but if I want to break the regime, I break the regime. I'm not fixed to any time schedule. I can, of course, now it's very disciplined for me, but those days, if I have time in the night, I would run in the night. I have, not that I'm not recommending people should do it, but I've done it midnight. I've done it at 2 a.m. I've done it at 8:30 in the evening, morning. But for me now, it's very simple. So Aradhana, I have not unsubscribed my Netflix and the other platforms. I really love my content, but for me, it's lights off at 10:30 because I have to get up at 5:30. Come what may, lights off 10:30. So yes, these are, so you do get inspired seeing people around, but find a buddy, find somebody with similar commitment. Yeah, that works.
I think that's very interesting you say that, because another question is that well-being is a very focused on individual concept, and what is the role of social community in well-being. And I think that's exactly what you said, that finding a buddy in that community plays a very, very important role. So thank you for saying that. And we are almost at the end of this session. So I would request my team to just share a link with everyone, like a poll link for the feedback. It would be really great for all of you to just share your inputs so that we can take those into account moving forward. And then while you're filling that, any closing advice that both of you have just for all of us before we end this session, and we could then close it on that note. Any one thing or one quick tip you'd like to share as a closing advice to the attendees?
So I would say, that's what I also follow. I tell everybody, do everything in moderation. That only is going to work. Don't go on to extreme that today I start working out and I'm going to do wonders in 1 month, because after that you may be so tired, you may not do anything for 2 months. Same with the diet. Don't go on a very strict or crash diet. They do not work in a long time. This is the time and era of all the fad diets. So moderation is the key. You start small and then build. Don't go overboard doing anything, because that's not sustainable in the long run, and that would not work out. What you can do now, would you be able to do that after 5 years? Do you see yourself doing that down the line, 5 years, 10 years? If answer is yes, then start it. If you see like I'm just going to do it for 6 months and then I'll enjoy life, no, it's not going to work, because then again after 6 months you'll have to come back to doing the same thing. So just go in moderation, whether it is diet or your stress management program or your workout routine. Moderation will always be better. Do not blindly follow what others are doing, because your lifestyle, your body, your habits, everything is different. So get your plan customized, whether it's your workout plan, and whatever works for you may not be working for others, but just start from somewhere. So humble starts are always, better option rather than you start with a big fanfare and then not able to continue it.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Anuj, any closing thoughts?
Yeah, no, for me, Charu, it's all about committing it to yourself. You're doing it for yourself. आप अपने लिए कर रहे हैं, और भी कुछ नहीं तो देखिए कपड़े अच्छे लगते हैं. The personalities look different. You spread positivity. People, prefer to come around, come next to you. People prefer to interact with you. So आप अपने लिए कर रहे हैं. You are also, if nothing else, also, along with doing it for yourself, take it also as a social cause. Because अगर आपने एक भी आदमी को inspire कर दिया to lead a lifestyle, healthy lifestyle like yourself, imagine you are actually starting a social movement. तो अपने लिए कर रहे हैं, सबसे पहले तो अपने लिए कमिटमेंट करते हैं. और जो आराधना ने कहा, बी फ्लेक्सिबल अबाउट इट. कोई रेजिमेंटेड नहीं यार, किसी ने सजा नहीं दी हमको कि बस यही खाना है, ये नहीं खाना है. बैलेंस कर लें. एक बार अगर आपने अपने आप को कमिटमेंट कर लिया तो उसके बाद यू विल फाइंड वेज एंड मीन्स टू अचीव इट. वॉकिंग इज द बेस्ट वर्कआउट. किसने कहा है आपको मैराथन दौड़नी है? जस्ट स्टार्ट ब्रिस्क वॉक, 45 मिनट्स, हाफ एन आवर, द बेस्ट वर्कआउट. और हो जाएगा. Don't get frustrated. So those who are, and by the way, last for me is do not confuse weight loss with health with well-being. आप weight loss की तरफ देखें भी नहीं, उसकी परवाह भी नहीं करें. Just have a plan. आपको क्या करना है, stick to the plan. Let weight loss be incidental. उसके पीछे नहीं पड़े. हमने कंफ्यूज कर लिया कि weight loss is equal to health. वो नहीं है. और हो जाएगा. It's good fun. Take it as a challenge and enjoy it. It's good fun. बहुत मजा आएगा.
Thank you. I think that's a great way to end it. Have fun with it. I think that's very important. We take so much stress about so many things. Don't take stress about your health and wellness. Enjoy it, walk into it, and have fun. And with that, I think I would say thank you to both of you for taking out the time today and sharing so many tips with all of us. I'm sure a lot of us have a lot of takeaways. And we hope to continue these series and keep coming back and sharing more with our attendees in our way forward. So thank you, all of you.
Thanks a lot, Charu, for having me here.
Thank you, Charu.
It was nice. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a lovely
Nice
evening,
listening
all
to
of
you,
you.
Anuj.
Thank you, Aradhana. Thank you very
Bye
much. It
for
was
now.
very informative. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Would request all of you
Thanks,
to
sir.
also just fill the poll. I think that is ended. So thank you, and look forward to all of you going forward. We look forward to all of you joining in more of our sessions.